Be a part of the best pro wrestling podcast today at patreon.com/Steve and Larson. Enjoy tons of bonus videos, including patron-only live shows, gameplay, and vintage 10 for the wins, access to podcast question threads, the Friendo Care Package, and so much more. Support Going In Raw today at patreon.com/Steve and Larson.
Hi, this is the bad boy, Joey Janela, and you're listening to the Going In Raw podcast. Joey Janela always goes in.
This is the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, and you are listening to Going In Raw.
Hey everyone, Kenny Omega here. In case you didn't know, we have an awesome kick-butt show called Steve and Larson's Going In Raw, and they're going to be supporting AEW every week amongst many other things. Goodbye and smooch. Good night. Bye-bye.
Hey, friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to right here at youtube.com/Steve and Larson, taped live at Twitch at twitch.tv/Steve and Larson, and of course available wherever podcasts can be found. If you're listening to the sound of my voice, leave us a rating, review, or a comment. It goes a long way towards helping Going In Raw grow. Tonight's AEW Dynamite, Larson, saw a vicious, bloody world title fight, a separate, vicious, bloody beatdown, and the AEW debut of Eric Bischoff. But
I'm back, better than ever.
Before we get into all that stuff,
all wrong.
Orange Cassidy's totally going to beat Chris Jericho next week. Yeah, that's going to happen.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah,
he is.
Yeah,
totally is. Yeah, totally set for him to win.
So
Jericho gets the pay-per-view win. Cassidy gets the win on free cable television. Yeah,
it's the sort of thing where I think Jericho, number one, I think everybody over there really likes Orange Cassidy. I think Jericho really likes Orange Cassidy. And I think when you hear all the stories about that Jericho has told over the years through his book or his podcast or whatever, it's obvious the guy really took to heart the kind of stuff that tonight's special guest Eric Bischoff put him through in terms of establishing that there is a ceiling, that nobody could break through that ceiling. And Jericho was one of those guys who he was so frustrated he couldn't get through that ceiling. He ended up jumping ship and went to WWF and, of course, had a legendary career after that. And so it's obvious that those are lessons from his life that he has taken to heart. And he doesn't want to be that same thing that existed back in the day where you couldn't get past a certain part. And so he's doing his part to scout this talent, say, okay, this is a guy who I want to take to the next level. And the great thing about it that we especially saw tonight, and we've seen over the course of this Jericho-Orange Cassidy feud, is when a lot of people say, hey, is Orange Cassidy just this gimmick where he's a guy who doesn't say anything? What more can we get out of him? Especially tonight, we saw a lot more out of Orange Cassidy in that debate.
Yeah, I think overall, I mean, this entire episode, I felt like apart from maybe one match, it advanced quite a few stories. The opening bout alone, you got the Dax injury, which led to Cash, his partner, going backstage with him, but also Hangman Page taking him out of the bout for a prolonged stretch. Maybe down the line that could further tensions between himself and the rest of the Elite. You got Mox actually dropping a really good promo tonight. I thought that was really good because it was personal. It felt heartfelt, genuine. Like he really likes Darby Allin, and he related it to his own experiences.
And his promo played out in the ring as well, like it was some foreshadowing there for that match.
You had a really good match between best friends at XLAX that seems to be pushing XLAX in a more aggressive direction. I like that. The MJF stuff in the campaign headquarters was fine. I like the Matt Hardy thing, the beatdown at the end, the table spot, all the blood. Apparently that was Hardway, according to Fightful Select. Really, the match that left the least impression on me was Matt Cardona's in-ring debut in AEW. It wasn't a bad match. It was fine. The best part of it was Scorpio Sky confronting Cody in the tunnel.
Yeah,
at the TNT title shot.
That was. I had a lot of problems with that particular match, to be honest with you. There's no way. There's no way those guys should be taking that kind of offense off of a couple of guys like Reynolds and Silver.
They're a good tag team, though.
that was really silly. Like,
you know what? We probably said the same exact thing. I'm pretty sure I remember saying that when Alan Angels actually pushed Kitty past like a 2-minute match. And down the line, it's played out where, look, Alan Angels here, he showed us he could do this. Now that he's part of Dark Order, he's actually grown a bit more successful. He won tonight. I think he won his last match even. As long as it builds to a story down the line, it doesn't really bother me so much. You look at the power rankings, not the official AEW power rankings, but power rankings in general. Cody's a champ. Matt Cardona's coming in from WWE. There should be a squash match. Kind of appreciate in a certain respect that it's not. Anyways, the main event I thought was fantastic. Just top to bottom, pretty much a really fun episode of Dynamite.
Yeah, it was good stuff. Want to give a shout out real quick to some new patrons we have. Let's see here. We have Blake Roberts, Joey Parisi, Ryan Creech, Sean O'Callahan, Jordan Snipes, and Seth Eggenberg. Thank you very much for your support. You'll get access to Friendo Club TV, which is our bonus content. Today, we're still chipping away, trying to get that first doubles win in Rocket League, man. I'm so happy that you're tuned into Rocket League now and this journey that we're on together.
I've always really liked that game. I like that game a lot.
It's a lot of fun. I know it's a lot of fun. Tomorrow, I'm very excited to unveil this. Tomorrow, you and I go head to head. I have the 1990s All-Star team.
All-decade team. Yeah.
All-decade 1990s in NBA 2K20. You represent the all-aughts NBA team. Oh, man, it's a ferocious battle. I can't wait to do more NBA 2K20 stuff.
I think we're going towards full-on building up our individual franchises, competing franchise to franchise, building our own teams.
We got to invite some friendos into that particular fantasy league. So, that'll be a lot of fun. You can get access to that at Friendo Club TV, throwing us a Twitch sub, throwing us a YouTube channel membership, or, of course, $5 a month up on the Patreon.
Yes. Before we get into the recap, our Lopez Ortiz here in chat says, disappointed how little time the women got tonight. Mention the cup at least. And that has been a common criticism I've seen on social media, one I agree with. We got the segment with Britt and Reba in her match against Swole. Nary a mention that I can recall of the tag tournament, and that's kind of disappointing. Let's do a little recap package. Here, this is what you could see over on YouTube during this tournament. I think would have benefited the tournament as a whole.
Yeah, Tay Conti had a pretty good showing against Nyla Rose. At least there was a bunch of Twitter clips that I saw because I didn't watch it myself. But yeah, it is kind of odd that they didn't. I mean, it was a pretty jam-packed AEW, but it is one of those things. I do feel like AEW, they listen to criticism. They absorb criticism pretty well, except when it comes to the women's division. It's one of those weird things that, like, they just cannot get this thing right. And I don't know what the deal with that is, but hopefully they keep on trying.
I don't know either.
Yeah. So anyways, let us know what you guys think about this Jericho Orange Cassidy match. Let us know what your favorite sandwiches are in the comments below. We got a lot of great sandwich recommendations, Larson, in the comments for today's news brief episode.
What was your favorite suggestion? I saw a couple myself.
I don't know. I was just super hungry because I'm like trying not to eat as much these days. So like,
yeah, no, I saw somebody mention a meatball sandwich, and I was like, oh man, that sounds so good.
None of it really seemed revolutionary. It all sounded good though.
Yeah, no, I want my mind blown by some sandwich I would never comprehend of.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Right here, Ryan Hill. I love a good Reuben. Yeah, Reuben's good.
Have you ever watched that Jon Favreau movie Chef?
Yeah.
It's a really good movie.
It is a good movie.
And it makes me want to eat everything on the planet.
That Cuban sandwich he makes looks so good.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, I love myself a good Cuban sandwich, but man, the way he makes it there looks outstanding.
He films it so lovingly too. Anyways,
man, so good.
Let's hop right into this. The show kicked off with the Dark Order versus we had the elite team of Hangman, Kenny, the Bucks, and FTR.
Correct.
Taking on, like I said, the Dark Order in 12-man action.
This was really fun.
What happened early on? Because I missed the first 2 minutes, but like as soon as I turned it on, Dax was being helped to the back.
Okay, that's kind of like the first major story beat. There's back and forth. Actually, for the better part of the match, the Elite have the upper hand. So Dax is tagged in. He tags in Cash right away. They set up for a backbreaker / second rope elbow combo. So Dax is doing the backbreaker spot, but he's already like taken the knee kind of. So he's not going the full backbreaker upon impact. And so Cash hits the elbow and Dax sells knee. Now, since the way it kind of played out afterwards with Hangman going backstage with him, story beat. Because it took Paige out of the match for a good stretch.
Yeah.
And so for a while, the Elite were operating at a 6-3 disadvantage.
Right, yeah. Yeah. So Matt Jackson, right before Hangman came back, goes on a pretty big tear. But Hangman kind of like Kenny was just getting destroyed. Matt Jackson comes in, goes on a tear. Hangman's back, gets a hot tag, goes on a tear of his own.
Oh man, he takes out 5 of the 6 members of the Dark Order except Brody Lee. The whole time Brody Lee's just staring at him.
Yeah. So after
great.
that was a moonsault to the outside. Hangman sends, I think it was Alan Eagles, right? It was 5. Yeah, into Brody to say, hey, tag him out. Let me come in, or you come in. So he does. They have a face-off. A great trading of blows. Hangman gets to the outside. Brody does a great suicide dive to the outside on Hangman. Colt Cabana tags in, sort of drops Hangman on the ropes. Kenny comes in, gets double stomped by 5. Hangman gets a 450'd by Stu Grayson. The Bucks go on a super kick party. They do like a super kick Snapdragon combo with Kenny, and then they're about to do the buckshot V-trigger combo, and Brody evades that. Kenny gets pulled out, and then Brody gives Hangman like that huge clothesline of his, and gets the win there.
Yeah, it was a really fun match, and you got the story beats of Paige seemingly more concerned about FTR than his fellow Elite members. You got Dark Order working strong together, something we haven't always seen since their deception and their debut. It was a good night, even though they didn't win all their matches. It was a strong showing for Dark Order tonight, and Brody Lee getting that pin over Hangman Page is pretty cool. And that could be a match we see at least on Dynamite, maybe it All Out. Who knows?
Somebody here in chat said, "Did I just say Alan Eagles?" Chris Jericho getting his name intentionally wrong so often during that one match. I literally don't remember what his name is.
Alan Angels. Alan Angels.
Angels.
5.
I'm not going to remember any of that.
Alan Angels.
I knew that he was 5, though, so that's good. So after that, the best friends pull up in Sue's van. Of course, that's Trent's mom. Then we get a Denim Mox promo talking about struggling with demons of his own.
Man, I thought this was really good.
When he was young, he used to want to do a bunch of crazy stuff, and his friends were like, no, and he was like, yes, and he was like, I probably should have listened to them sometimes.
Well, I like he mentioned, hey, they were like, hey, don't wrestle that guy. Don't do that death match. Don't do that thing.
Yeah.
Just tell him, get lost.
So he gives Darby a little bit of advice. Basically, he says, when it's time to stay down, just stay down, but you're probably not going to listen because I wouldn't.
Yeah, it's really, I mean, this bit here where he talks about, now he's the guy. He that's the voice of reason. He's the one that's concerned for someone else's health because he knows that Darby won't stop till he can't move. Last time he wrestled, he nearly broke his neck. It was that super paradigm shift spot off the top. And he says it weighs heavy on him because Darby is his favorite guy in AEW. He says, for the title, I got to do what I got to do.
After that, we had a super cheesy MJF campaign headquarters staff meeting where he got mad at Lee Johnson for hanging a poster wrong.
The best friends match was before that, wasn't it?
Oh my God, it's right here. Yeah, sorry. I don't know. After that, we had best friends.
It was a really fun match.
Yeah, it was cool. I'm sort of tired of LAX eating these losses all day long.
I wonder, based on what happens later, if this loss is going to unlock the more aggressive, vicious aspect of their personality, and therefore,
like Ortiz literally on that
reason for it.
On that finish, Ortiz just looked over it. He was like, God damn. I don't know. Maybe that was just me because this whole feud's over a van.
Oh yeah, no, it's silly.
Yeah. So, but no, I mean the match was fun enough. I really loved the part towards the finish when X-Lax were doing all those cool combo moves. Like Ortiz rolled Santana back into a stunner thing.
That was great.
That was really cool. Then they did that kick to the head on Trent thing. They only got 2 on that. And then Trent, so Chuck was up on the apron, sort of blasted Santana, who ended up falling into Ortiz, right? And then Trent got a roll up type thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they got the win there, but that didn't really end there.
No, it did not. It did not. But yeah, next we had the MJF promo from the campaign headquarters. We meet some of his campaign staff. You mentioned Lee Johnson. What's that? Nina? Is that the woman's name there?
Yeah, she's the one bright spot out of this cheesy campaign stuff. She's actually pretty funny because she talks crap and stuff. But I have no idea what this is even supposed to. It's a presidential campaign or something.
Yeah, it's kind of I don't know. It doesn't really connect that well. Anyways, so MJF goes into the campaign headquarters, says, hey, we're here making posters and pins and shipping them all across the world. He comes across a campaign poster that's put up on the wall. He doesn't like how it's up there and gives Lee Johnson crap for not making sure it was level before he put it up.
I do like the little bit of business that Lee Johnson was doing during this, though. He was removing the green, either Skittles or I guess it'd be Skittles, out of a bowl of other Skittles. I'm assuming it was Skittles. Some
pretty
candy
funny
of some sort. That was pretty funny. He looked over it too, but I think he was in character.
Yeah, so he asked Nina, MJF does, how they're faring in the polls, and there's a graphic show on the TV there that says he's got 100% of the vote to Mox's minus 88%. He says.
You know what I really like about that?
Huh.
I know it's a playoff of political polls in general, but the fact that they WWE when they would kayfabe their polls and stuff.
Yeah. So this campaign won't slow down until the AEW championship is around his waist, and afterwards someone asks him, well, what if Darby wins the title tonight? And MJF basically says, what, I wouldn't want Darby Allin to be my opponent? He weighs 125 pounds. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a baby boy. After that, Matthew Hardy comes down, and he has a promo, and he's like, I had these guys private party, and I saw a lot of myself in them, very young. And so I tried to guide them. I tried to give them advice. They listened. Mm-hmm. Said I also tried to help Sammy Guevara, but he didn't take my advice. And meanwhile, Sammy is trying. He tries to do a sneak attack on Matthew Hardy. And right before he initiates that attack, Matthew Hardy says, Sammy Guevara, I knew you'd come. I thought that moment could have been stretched out a little bit longer. But he said, I knew you'd come. And so he turns around to confront Sammy. They go at it. And Sammy just blasts him with a chair, and oh my God, Matthew Hardy just blood is everywhere.
Oh, it's great. We need the lead up to it. So they're brawling ringside, and Hardy tosses him with the barricade a few times, puts him through the timekeeper table, sets up a table ringside, tries to go for a twist of fate. Sammy pushes him into the ring post, and then that's when Sammy puts him on the table, goes up to the stage and does a somersault senton off the stage. The impact alone looked rough, but that we threw the chair at him before he goes for the senton. And again, according to Fightful Select, Hardy got busted open hard way there. Just blood pouring out all over the place.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's the thing about a wound that big is that. I wonder the one with Mox during the title fight. You think that was their heads colliding, or was that?
I think that was that's supposed to be from the title shot. When
it was supposed to be from the title shot. That's right. Yeah. But no, the Hardy one, that was so much blood. I'm like, dude, if that was
fast too.
If he gigged himself, I think is what they call it. Yeah. If he did that, he did something wrong, because you're not supposed to have that much blood.
It was pouring out. There's already a puddle of blood on the ground when they cut to him.
That was horrible. Yeah.
It was a great visual though, in terms of making Sammy look strong.
Yeah, sure.
Visually, it's great.
After that, XLAX. They went out and destroyed poor Trent's mom's van,
Sue's van.
Sue's van. Yeah.
So that's why, I don't know, I'm hoping that they lost. You see that look of frustration in Ortiz's face afterwards. Then they respond by being more aggressive, being more vicious. And if that translates into the ring, because before this, they said they had gone on a 3-match winning streak, I think, XLAX. Mm-hmm. So maybe they need to kick things up a notch in terms of the aggressiveness. And they'll really go on a winning streak. That's my hope. That's my hope.
Yeah, I don't think Sue's going to be getting that apology anytime soon.
No, I don't think so, because I'm pretty sure XLX is winning next time around.
All right, Larson, before we continue, here's a word from the sponsor of today's show, Wild Wild Tech. Wild Wild Tech is a new podcast about the weirdest, wildest, and most bizarre and most interesting stories about technology and how it's shaping our culture.
Technology is everywhere, but you may not realize that technology is affecting our everyday lives in really weird ways. For example, epidemiologists have studied World of Warcraft. Yes, World of Warcraft. Wow. And the pandemic that happened within that game so they can be better prepared to combat COVID-19.
Yeah, and if you've watched Splash on Disney Plus, remember that old movie Splash? You may have noticed that Disney censored Daryl Hannah's butt with some sort of like weird hairy shorts type garment. It's really weird, man. But here's the thing. Wild Wild Tech brings you all these weird stories about your favorite tech companies and products that you just won't believe.
Hosted by Jordan Erica Weber and Joshua Rivera, Wild Wild Tech brings voices of experts who know all about the hidden world of tech together with the real people who have had their lives totally changed in weird ways by the digital world.
And at the end of this episode, you'll hear a short clip of Wild Wild Tech, and you can subscribe to the show if you like what you hear. Listen and subscribe to Wild Wild Tech on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you're listening to this show now. You can also find a link in the episode notes that will take you right to the show. All right, man, let's get back to this AEW review. After that, we had Alex Reynolds and John Silver from the Dark Order taking on Matt Cardona in his in-ring debut on AEW and Cody.
Yes, and it was an all right match. I don't know. I mean, I guess one the where things kind of turned, the tide turned the Dark Order's favor was so Cody is sent towards the corner, and it looks like he's trying to be too cute and slide out. But the process of doing so, he slams his ribs into the ring post. So, the way it played to me was it wasn't that the Dark Order overpowered Cody in that instance. Cody just tried to do too much, and it kind of almost led to his undoing, because after that, Dark Order got a ton of offense. But Silver and Reynolds are a good tag team. There's a couple of stretches where they're dishing out offense. That stuff they were doing was really neat. And it was all bang, 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 super fast stuff.
Yeah.
At one point, Silver's kicking the heck out of Cody. He no-sells, goes for a backslide. He just eats more kicks, then hits a power slam, gets the tag to Matt Cardona. He goes on a run, misses a Rough Rider, although they call that radio silence now. And then Reynolds escapes that. Instead, Cardona hits with a power bomb, Silver into break up the pin. He eats a Cody cutter. Reynolds then tosses Cody out of the ring. Dark Order hits a bunch of offense. Cardona kicks out. Cody's back in, and then he and Silver just tumble right out of the ring with the suplex spot, where someone tries to suplex someone else out of the ring, and they both end up going out. And that's when Cardona hits radio silence on Reynolds to get the win. Highlight, though, was Scorpio Sky meeting Cody in the tunnel, tapping that TNT title. We're getting that next week. Yeah.
Yeah, it's too early.
It is too early, because I know Scorpio Sky's not going to win. He really should win that match.
He really should. He'd be perfect. And I still suspect that he's going to be the guy to take that off Cody. Next week is too early. I wonder. I mean, look, Scorpio Sky has got this groundswell. He had that great promo on Dark, talking about why am I on Dark? And I'm like, yeah, I know. But it's a good story for him. And I really hope that this is going to be, if he loses to Cody, it'll be because Cody finally actually cheats to get a win. Because he's shown like signs here and there of either arrogance. Arn's kind of like over Cody at this point. Yeah, and so maybe that's the match where Cody actually cheats. And then they build that rematch to All Out where Scorpio Sky will actually beat.
That'd be cool.
Cody. I think that'd be a good way to go.
Yeah.
I think my main thing when I was watching that match is just it felt like a very WWE match.
Oh, yeah.
That was my main thing with it. I was like, this is really not that great. And it's okay. This is maybe not a great analogy, but like on Impact on Tuesday, which by the way I watched live, 5 p.m. co-streaming it, which means you could see it on the screen that I'm on. Heath Slater put in a match that I had not seen from him before. Certainly not in the, obviously not in the WWE. This was a tag match where Matt Cardona essentially got a hot tag, offense, hit his finish. And so I'm just sort of curious how he's going to change his game up. He looks really happy, which is cool.
Yeah, and he's jacked.
He doesn't look like his soul is being sucked out anymore.
No, that's true. I mean, he said that this is the first match in a year that he cared about. I think he said that on social media or something. But yeah, no, you see, people who leave WWE and go somewhere else. You want to see if WWE has kept something within them that they're finally able to get out, whether that be aspects of their characters, promo stuff, in-ring work. And tonight we didn't see that from Matt Cardona. But again, it's a tag match. It's a short little bit from him. So maybe there's something else there. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, if he's just happy to be there, that's cool, but I'm going to need something else.
I think he's only signed a 5-date deal with them so far. I think that's what I read.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know that. That's interesting. Oh, wow. Okay. Testing the waters, I guess.
So far. I mean, maybe he wants to stick around longer, but who knows? Who knows?
So after that, the best friends see Trent's mom's van, Sue's van. Trent has, this is new, FPOS rib saran wrap. He had not rib tape, but rib saran wrap.
Yeah, I was thinking there'd be some ice or something, but if it was, it might have been on his back, because that's what Santana and Ortiz were working with his back. So he had some ice on his back.
Yeah, it could be.
So,
and then they say when they say we're gonna beat the crap out of you. When we do, you're gonna apologize to my mom on speakerphone.
That was good.
Yeah.
Trent's great.
After that, we had the great debate moderated by
He's back.
He's back. Yeah. Eric Bischoff, your favorite guy, your favorite wrestling personality, Larson. Eric Bischoff.
I think his influence is a bit overstated, but he did some good things, did a lot of bad things.
You should check out his podcast. 83 Weeks actually.
I have actually listened to some of his podcasts. I listened to one that was about Sold Out 97. He was on there trying to justify basically every idea was a good idea.
Never mind then. I forget which one I was listening. You know what one I was listening to that was interesting, that there was nothing he could do to justify anything. It was pre-NWO, so it was like either Great American Bash or Bash at the Beach 95. And it was like a super low moment for WCW, and he was being pretty self-deprecating about it. He was like, we sold 60, I think he said that the gate was like $60,000. And he was like, Conrad, I believe that you and I could stage a live show in my garage and get more money than that in 2020. So I don't know. I've listened to a little bit of it.
I'll say this. What I remember about that episode, I didn't listen to the whole thing. I listened to a good chunk of it. Is like on a micro level, he might have been somewhat critical, but when it came to the overall presentation that he wanted to do, he would always justify it in terms of that. Like, in a bubble, this might not have been good, but in terms of the overall package we were trying to present there, this is why we did it.
Yeah. I just with him, it's always I try to take him. I mean, I guess it's wrestling, so it doesn't really matter. But like, I've heard from so many different places that he tends to bend the truth a bit, and that sort of is off-putting to me. But like what I've heard on 83 Weeks, I have liked so far. So I don't know.
I'm sure he tailors what he wants to his particular narrative.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing obviously to appreciate tonight, this is probably a one-off thing, and they kept his role to just the basics, a bare minimum. He was not there to take over the show. In fact, I'll be honest with you, I think that there could have been a little bit more interaction between Jericho and Bischoff. There was that one moment where Jericho flared up and said, you know what, Bischoff, in 22 years, I've never liked you. Bischoff says, it's been 24 years, and I know exactly how you feel about me.
Yeah.
I thought that was a good little moment. I actually thought that, given the history of Bischoff and Jericho, Bischoff and the guys at commentary, we actually could have gotten a little bit more, stuff there.
At the same time, though, Eric Bischoff, during his basically entire run in WCW and most of his run in WWE, kind of played the same character, and I find that character basically really grating and annoying. And I'm happy, right? Like, he came to the stage, he wasn't that character, he was just Eric Bischoff.
He seemed pretty mild-mannered, to be honest with you. Hey, plug out, plug back in. So he comes out. Jericho looked like $1 million in that gray suit. I do appreciate that he even brought up the gag of the fancy $7,000 jacket looking more and more orange on a weekly basis.
Oh, it looked like it was spray painted today.
That was hilarious. I did think that the first half of this was like borderline WWE cringy, but then once Orange Cassidy had his actual promo at the end of it, I really liked that final the parting shot of it. So the first question that Bischoff asked was, "Why do you hate each other so much?" And Jericho first says, Orange, why didn't you dress for the occasion? Look at you, you're wearing a dirty denim jacket. So Orange very casually takes out a clip-on tie and puts it on. And then, of course, Jericho just goes on a shit-talking rampage about Orange Cassidy. Orange Cassidy has no response.
No response. Next question. Who's the better wrestler? Jericho tells Eric, don't be an idiot. I'm Le Champion. I'm the demo god. I've held, I think he said 15 or 50. I didn't catch that. Titles around the world. Orange hasn't been out of Florida. Calls Orange Cassidy a nerd. Says he makes him sick. Again, no response from Cassidy.
Then Eric Bischoff asks about climate change, and Jericho says, this is stupid, it has nothing to do with anything. And then Orange Cassidy does kind of that movie was called Old School, right? The one with Will Ferrell, where he has that debate, and he just like spews off a bunch of stuff. And so Orange Cassidy, instead of no selling the question, gets on the mic and says this whole long thing about climate change and how bad it is, and it's a global problem. So, Bischoff was very impressed by that.
Sorry, must be 50 championships for Jericho.
5-0. That sounds right. That sounds more accurate than 15.
Sound right.
Yeah, that doesn't sound right. And then the last question is, the fourth question is, why is Orange Cassidy so popular? And Jericho goes off on the concept of smart marks, indie wrestlers. Says when this is all said and done, he's basically, you've reached your ceiling. You're going to go back to being working at Jamba Juice. And Jericho, he says, I'm not going to tip you when you give me my blueberry
smoothie with extra protein and pumpkin seeds, I believe he said.
There you go.
He calls Cassidy a pimple on the ass of pro wrestling. He says, next week, I'm going to pop you.
Mm-hmm. And then the final question,
$7,000.
And the final question was, why does this rematch mean so much to the both of you? And Jericho started to talk, and then Orange Cassidy interrupted him and just said, shut up. He said, Chris, shut up. He said, I know what you're doing here. You scheduled a debate with a guy who doesn't talk. I know what you're doing. You're trying to embarrass me, but I don't care about that. He says, I do care about this match coming up because it is the biggest match of my life. But this is also the biggest match of your life. Because what if Chris Jericho loses to the guy who puts his hands in his pockets? And he's like super intense in this thing. And he says, look at me. Look at the man who's going to embarrass you next week. And then it gets physical. Jericho sends, what's his face? Jake Hager.
Not before Bischoff declares that Orange is the winner of the
yes.
debate.
That's right. Jericho's like, what are you talking about? There's no winner here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Hager attacks Cassidy, sends him down to the ground. They both stomp him, and he's left lying.
Jericho hits the Judas effect.
Yeah, the Judas effect.
Best friends run out like way too late to try and make the save.
Yeah, right.
After that, we had a Britt Baker interview. She says who Swole has to face to get her match against Britt. And it is Reba. It's Reba. And Reba's all shocked.
What? Me?
She's pleading with Britt. Britt says, no, get in the ring. So that match happens right now. And so they mentioned that Rebel has wrestled, but hasn't been an active competitor in some time. Swole has the early advantage. She's talking crap to Britt. That allows Reba an opportunity to get some moves off. Toss suplex, spin kick, slams Swole's face in the mat a bunch, goes up top. Can't quite get her balance, so she steps down the second rope, goes for a moonsault, misses. Swole hits her with Dirty Dancing, the discus forearm to get the win.
I appreciated that they actually had a pretty good, this is a really short match, but it was a really good balance, number one, of Reba being super rusty and sort of not exactly knowing what she's doing, but still knowing enough to get the early advantage on Big Swole.
Yeah. It's like some aspects of it just muscle memory. I'll come back to you,
Yeah. I thought it's a good performance in terms of looking like somebody who hasn't done this in a really long time, but but it was just a little bit more awkward than that. I don't know. I thought it was good.
Mm-hmm. That was good too.
After that, we got
next week.
Oh yeah.
So we got Cody versus Scorpio Sky next week for that TNT title. This is too soon, but man, come on, Scorpio Sky. Chris Jericho versus Orange Cassidy. I think they said it was for the tag titles, maybe not. Paige and Omega versus Jurassic Express. You also got Uno and Grayson against the Young Bucks, and it's also Tag Team Appreciation Night. So Arn, Tully, and the Rock and Roll Express are going to be in the house.
You know, one thing they really need to do next week, they probably should have done this week. Well, no, they can wait till next week. They got to show that Scorpio Sky promo. They have to. Because him coming out and tapping the title, if you don't watch Dark, like me, but I keep an eye on it. But, you know, if, I don't know, 200,000 people watch Dark and 700,000's watching Dynamite, it's a good chunk of people who might not know that Scorpio Sky has been holding it down on Dark, might not know his motivations. So when he comes out next week, you know, obviously he's going to have a match next week preceding that. They should really show that promo. This was my favorite Jon Moxley match of the year. It's probably my second favorite match of his. I actually don't really remember much of his match with Jericho, but I remember his match with Kenny Omega, the death match. That's my favorite. That's like one of my favorite AEW matches ever. It's like so insane.
Oh, that was so much fun.
This was such a great story, and it was bloody. It wasn't too long. It never meandered. It never just milled about. Every little beat about this match was purposeful, was a story being told. Darby Allin, in my mind, dude, this dude he's great. He can do no wrong. I really love him.
Yeah, man. He's got all the star power, man. So Darby comes down the ring. He's wearing one of his paper cutout masks, this one of Mox. Mox gets the ring, rips it off. Darby slaps him, and then Mox just decks him with a huge right hand, drops Darby.
Yeah.
So he's in control for a bit until Darby hits the springboard arm drag, drop kick. He sends Mox out to the stage, hits like a low suicide dive on him because Mox is still getting up. They're brawling on the stage, and then Mox chucks him off the stage into the ring post. Like the body control required for half the stuff Darby does is insane.
Oh, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
So Mox has Darby in a chin lock, and Darby's throwing up double middle fingers at him. Mox hits him with an X-Plex, and he's yelling at him throughout this match. When I tell you to stay down, it's time to stay down. You know, more or less pleading with him to not push Mox to the point where Mox feels like he really has to hurt Darby to get the win.
Yeah.
So Darby pulls Mox into the top rope, tackles him out of the ring, hits him ground and pound on the floor, follows with another huge suicide dive, drop kick in the ring, and then puts Mox's hands on top of the ring post and stomps on it. Mox falls to the floor. Darby hits him with a somersault senton. And then back of the ring, he's going for a springboard coffin drop. Mox catches him, goes for a German suplex. Darby lands on his feet, hits Mox with a code red. Almost got the 3. Just
hold on. I stand corrected.
out.
Somebody here in chat mentioned that Dark it gets like 400,000 views. That's totally true. Wow.
Yeah,
that's impressive.
Pretty good. That's
Didn't
really
know
good.
that it did that well.
So Darby goes up top. Mox clubs him, hits the German suplex off the second rope, and this brings down Wardlow to ringside. So he's arguing with the ref about something, distracting him. MJF gets the ring with the AEW title, clubs Mox with it. So Darby gets up, slowly, takes him a bit, goes up top, hits a coffin drop. Mox kicks out at 2. Camera goes a close-up of Mox, blood running down his face. Darby goes on a sustained run, hits a stunner, back elbow, goes back up top, goes for another coffin drop, falls right into a rear naked choke from Mox. Darby doesn't pass out, doesn't tap. He fights his way up, sticks his thumbs in Mox's eyes. Mox won't release the hold. But then, taking a page from the greatest combat athlete of all time, Minoru Suzuki, Gotch pile driver, following a sleeper. Darby kicks out, though, burying Suzuki's finish. Anyways, so Mox is beside himself. He goes to the corner and looks like says a prayer to himself, asking for forgiveness, what he has to do next, which is just hit a paradigm shift. He does that to everybody. Gets the win with that. And then he more or less cradles Darby in his arms as the
like
show goes
little
off the
baby,
air.
yeah.
We get a quick shot of MJF
everywhere.
backstage. He's upset that Mox won. Darby didn't pull out the win.
Yeah. I really like this match, man. I thought it was pretty great.
It'd be kind of interesting to see if they do a more formal mentorship with Mox and Darby Allin, you know? You know, they have to make it a huge thing.
Yeah.
Just like Mox is every once in a while. You know how Taz would step up to Darby and like, hey, let me help you with a few things? Mm-hmm. Darby would never listen to him. Maybe Darby isn't necessarily receptive to Mox, but he won't necessarily blow him off, and just subtly and week by week, month by month, just start incorporating some of the things that Mox is telling him about. I don't know. It could be interesting.
Yeah. I'd like Darby just to say, shut up, Boomer, leave me alone. And he's like, I'm not even Gen X. I'm like a millennial.
Did you ever wrestle for Evolve?
Yeah. You could tell Evolve to go F themselves. I just want to see more disgruntled Darby Allin.
I know.
Oh, man. Let's answer some questions. I got a thread up here on the Patreon.
Sure, I'll be on the Twitch then, yeah.
Sounds good. Thomas Dunnigan. AEW is clearly wanting to build Orange Cassidy into a star. Do you see him holding a title in 2021?
Yeah, maybe. He might get that TNT title. I mean, I appreciate, and you could maybe quibble with the means by which they do this, but it feels like AEW is really dedicated to wrestlers, even when they lose, for the most part. They try to establish them as somewhat legitimate. We saw that with Silver and Reynolds tonight. Even though they lost the match, they put forth a good showing. We saw this with Allen Angels against Kenny Omega. We don't get a whole lot of full-on squash matches in AEW. They seem to really be focused on trying to build everybody up. Mm-hmm. I appreciate that. Mm-hmm. I appreciate that. Wally Weir, can't wait for your appearance on Quizzlemania. Any research on the horizon? I don't know. We'll see.
Oh, you got to study. Yes, I am, for sure. I'm coming prepared. The Rain Trigger. If you were to start a new faction in AEW, what would you have, who would you have, and what would be the name?
A faction?
Yeah.
All right, well, anybody who's already in a faction, they can't be in our faction.
Okay, I would call mine the Dark Odor, and it'd be all wrestlers who look like they smell bad, like the Butcher and Abaddon and Chris Jericho when he's wearing the jacket.
Okay.
He's in he can't be because he's Inner Circle.
He's in a faction already.
Yeah. And there'd also be... Do you consider Hangman to be in a faction? He's not.
Technically, he's a member of the Elite still.
It's not really. They're not really a faction.
They're kind of on the outs, but technically he is. He does help them.
He's not.
He does help them.
He's not in a faction. They're just friends. So I'm going to have Hangman because
totally in a faction.
You just said technically, and they're on the verge. So don't say he's totally. So no, I'm taking Hangman. It's my faction. He smells like booze, and that's disgusting.
Well, I mean, it depends if it's how long it's been out. It's dried to someone's clothing, yes.
It's on his breath. That's not. That's never good. That's never good. Let's see, who else probably smells bad? Brody Lee looks like he might smell bad.
Or in a faction, man. He's leading a faction.
Oh, he's leading. Yeah, he's leading the Dark Order. This is the Dark Odor. Oh, Luther. Luther totally smells.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he smells. And then finally, QT Marshall.
All right. Would you consider Death Triangle a thing anymore?
Yes, of course I would. They're actually a faction.
Well, I mean, like,
so you can't use any of them.
Pac hasn't been around, so I don't know. And Lucha Brothers been kind of hanging around with Butcher and the Blade. I don't know if they were.
Pac hasn't been around because of coronavirus travel restrictions.
I know exactly why he hasn't been around. I don't know if they were kind of forced to shelve that particular faction for the time being. And they said, all right, well, let's move on to something else. All right, fine. I can't have Lucha Brothers. Fine.
Can't have Pac. Can't have Lucha Brothers.
Is SCU a faction?
Oh, that's a good one. Arn smells like waffles. I'm getting Arn too.
Oh man, waffles can smell delicious though.
Yeah, but on Arn.
So I want to create top-notch super team, the top faction from Fun Wrestling. Mm-hmm. And it's gonna be all former WWE guys.
Oh wow!
So give me Cardona.
Okay.
FTR.
Wow.
And who else is a WWE guy who's not in a faction?
Would you consider Cody in a faction?
Again, technically, he's a member of the Elite.
Elite's not really a faction, though, is it?
Well, they are. They are in terms of Kenny and the Young Bucks. They're the elite.
Mox. Everybody's saying Mox.
Oh, yeah, Mox. There you go. Top-notch super team. Mox, Cardona, FTR. That's a good faction right there.
Well, if you lose Cardona, and FTR, it's a great faction.
So it's Mox.
It's just Mox. Dog authority figure. Who's got the best and worst gear in AEW? The worst gear, in my opinion, is Brody Lee. Gray doesn't work well on him, and it's a weird look.
Yeah.
The best, in my opinion, is Darby Allin. That kid looks like $1 million.
Yeah, his whole packaging is great.
Terrific.
Can't really argue with that. Over here in Twitch, by the way, we got a lot of great sandwich suggestions in here. Chicharron with fried sweet potato chips.
Well, don't read those. I'm just going to get hungry. Come on,
I know. One novice says you guys need a catchphrase for Quizzlemania. So, of course, the Russell Talk guys jam that jam, right?
Yes. Right.
And then Sean Ross Sapp, I believe, is F that F.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Isn't that what he said? Isn't that what he came up with?
Yeah, I think I heard that today.
So we need to come.
What about Zane and crew? Do they have a phrase?
Don't know.
Shit that shit. Ass to ass.
There you go.
Ass to ass.
There we go. Oh, wow. I know you said no sandwich questions, but Sai Fixia says, when I worked at D'Angelo's over in the Northeast, I made a sandwich called the Meat Explosion. It had steak, pastrami, Italian meats, bacon, pickles, and melted Swiss. Amazing.
That sounds amazing.
That sounds so good.
Oh, that sounds so good.
Patrick Oliva says, I feel like Cardona as a wrestler is better suited for Impact.
I think he's better suited for WWE.
Yeah, he is like really a WWE guy.
He's the most WWE guy there is. Nemo says, with Trent sporting saran wrap rib tape, I have to ask, what other household items could you use for rib tape? Saran wrap's a really good one. Aluminum foil.
Yeah.
If there's enough of it, yeah. But you need a lot
to... whole roll, yeah.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Wax paper wouldn't work.
No, it's just...
it's like masking tape.
Haven't we seen duct tape before?
Maybe.
Didn't somebody do like a duct tape FPOS rib tape?
Maybe.
20 rolls of Scotch tape. There you go.
O-Dog, you guys mentioned arrogance in wrestling when talking about Cody. Just makes me think of Rick the Model Martel.
Yeah.
It's a good question for you, Long Heavy. Why isn't any of the Deadly Draw on Tag Team Appreciation Week? It's a good question.
Because AEW doesn't like women. Tony Khan's backstage. It's all elite wrestling, not all elite women.
Oh, gosh.
That's a joke. It's a joke because it's a standard criticism of AEW. Relax, everybody. Jordan Snipes. Out of the two viable contenders being presented for the TNT Championship, so should Scorpio Sky or Matt Cardona be the one to beat Cody? Or should Cody continue his... It should be Scorpio Sky. Matt Cardona hasn't... In 2 weeks, he hasn't dropped a promo. No idea why he's there. No idea why he's... I mean, we know they've said his good friend is Cody. Gonna need a little bit more than that, Matt.
Yeah, especially there's a real story. Maybe he's only there for like 5 appearances. We don't need more.
Let me ask you this. Are you surprised, because I am, that Matt Cardona's t-shirt was the #1 seller on Pro Wrestling Tees?
No. He's always had like a really loyal following.
Yeah, I guess he has, huh? From that...
Since 2010.
The Long Islands. Yeah, but those people are still around? Kind of surprises me a little bit, but I guess you're right. He did the whole internet thing. Oh, he's got the toy thing. He's got the toy podcast,
the toy thing.
too.
I think he still has a lot of goodwill, because I think a lot of people think, he got himself over. WB recognized that for a bit and decided, no, we don't want to push you because we didn't create you, essentially. And I think he's got a lot of goodwill because of that.
Yeah, that's a good point. His podcast is pretty popular, too. All right.
It is.
All right. Question solved, then.
Jorge D. Sheeta wasn't on today's show. She has no storyline, hasn't defended the belt in a while despite the open challenge. Yeah, no one has really answered the open challenge. She hasn't really been in a position where anybody could answer it.
It's called All Elite Wrestling, Kenny.
Stop. She also gets no vignettes. Why is it hard for AEW to give Sheeta anything?
Dude, why is the only woman who has an action figure, Brandy Rhodes? She don't even really wrestle that much. What the heck, dude? Where's my Britt Baker figure?
Yeah, I know. Fear and Loathing Larson, when you're playing the Newlywed game on Quizlemania, and they ask you Steve's prize achievement, don't forget it's bowling a 300 in Arizona. That's not where it was.
Well, it wasn't in Arizona.
It was at 12 pin to Lancaster, right? Is that where
12,
it was? 12?
It was a 10 pin. They called it 10 pin, which is a weird name. I think they ended up changing it, but then they no, it was 12. Well, you're right. It was 12 pin because there were 10 pins. That was why it was weird. Yeah, it was 12 pin in like Lancaster or Palmdale or whatever. I got my story. I don't need my story straight. When I don't want to come. You know, my memory's bad. Look at that guy. Bang. Ass to ass.
Do you know they changed the name of the place too?
No, they tore it down. I checked last week. They tore the damn place down.
You just told me they renamed it.
Yeah, or something like that. I don't know. It was like 20 years ago, dude. The internet.
You know, there's is it 12 pins or 12 pin?
I think it was 12 pin.
All right. According to Google, there's no 12 pin bowling alley anywhere in America.
Yeah, I know. It's not there anymore.
But even if there had been, you'd think there'd be some record of it somewhere.
Not really. The internet is really big on just keeping the latest stuff around. That's actually true. I've tried to look for stuff based on my comic book career, and I use quotation marks there. And it's all buried. I had articles written about my shit that I wanted to look at, and it's all just buried. So yeah, it just disappears. But that, you see that? Have you seen that yet?
Yeah, you showed it to me.
Looks pretty cool, huh? So there you go. Sean O'Callahan has one last question here on the Patreon. What kind of car should Trent's mom get?
Like a Hummer?
A Jeep Wrangler.
That's what you want to get.
Yeah, I know. That's the car on my mind. I have a little bit yet less than a year to figure it out.
Oh, yeah.
When Summer turns 18, I'm going to be giving her my car, and I'm going to have to be in the market for a new one.
White Brian 92 says Quizlemania 24-hour study stream.
Ooh, no. I'd rather do a Rocket League 24-hour. I could play Rocket League for 24 hours.
I might be able to. Flats. Matt Cardona feels just like a guy. Is that a bad thing? Good luck at Quizlemania.
He hasn't said anything.
Yeah.
Talk.
Well, this is an interesting question. Jonathan, in honor of the upcoming Quizlemania, what would you consider your personal and partner strengths topic in relation to wrestling? That's a good question, because now after hearing this, maybe there's specific areas that each of us can kind of study up on and improve on.
Ugh. Okay.
This isn't just research everything. This is, hey, here's your strengths, here's your weaknesses.
The targeted.
Here's what's to work on.
Fuck, man. I don't know. I'm probably... I'm trying to think within the context of Quizlemania as well.
Well, you're the better artist. You're a better drawer than I am. So
that didn't help me last time, though. That Kurt Angle, I really overthought that one. I actually need to practice on that because it's like, yeah, I can draw Kurt Angle, drink spraying milk on Vince McMahon, but how do I do it in 30 seconds to get the point across? Yep. I have to think. I mean, in that respect, pin, lose, or draw, when we were doing that, kind of helped me a little bit.
There you go.
Yeah, I don't know. You're good with just like remembering raw shit that you probably shouldn't. So I hope that'll, help.
I feel like a lot of the information just gets pushed out.
That's why, like, when I studied last time, that's how I got third place. Because, I mean, it helped a little bit anyways. Yeah, I got to look at the last couple episodes and see if I can determine where Blampier is going with some of this stuff.
But, with it being kind of a tag team themed episode, that could change it all up.
You're right, but still, sound strategy. Got to start somewhere.
All right, you do that. I'll think about researching. White Brian 92. Larson is AEW and Steve is WWE. Book your 5 crossover matches with New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Okay. I will... John Cena versus Tanahashi.
Yeah.
Randy Orton versus Kazuchika Okada.
That could be great.
I need a tag team bout. The New Day versus the Gorillas of Destiny.
Mm-hmm.
The Ticking Time Bomb versus we've seen that before. Versus Mustafa Ali. And then let's see here. Oh yeah, easy. Daniel Bryan, Joe Ora said this. Daniel Bryan versus Zack Sabre Jr.
That's good. That's good. I'm in the position where a lot of the potential dream matches between AEW and New Japan we have seen before. We've seen Kenny against basically everybody. We've seen the Young Bucks against basically everybody. So I'm limited in that respect. So I got like Mox versus Okada, which it could be a good match. It could not. But there's a lot of star power associated there. So sure, why not?
Wow. What, dude, come on. Darby Allin. Darby Allin versus
Ticking Time Bomb. Yeah, I got that. That's the next one I have written down here.
Well, that's classic.
So calm down.
Don't yell at me. FTR versus
Gorillas of Destiny.
What about Show and Yo?
XLX against Roppongi.
Wait a second. Mox hasn't fought... Wait, has Mox fought Suzuki yet?
Yeah.
He did?
Yeah.
Oh, man, I got to go back and
earlier
watch
this
that.
year.
Oh, wow. I don't remember anything.
It feels like an eternity ago.
I don't remember anything pre-pandemic, I'll be honest with you.
Oh, my goodness.
Darby Allin versus 205 Okada. Everybody stop saying evil, okay? Nobody stop saying evil. Suzuki versus Eddie Kingston.
Oh, that would be good.
That would be good. Mikey Omega says, first Undertaker, Shane, and now this. Yeah, that completely slipped my mind. Wait, hold on a second. Did I watch Mox versus Suzuki? Was that something we watched together?
No.
Where did that happen? In the G1?
No, it was earlier this year. I think it was probably a New Beginning.
Oh, wow.
Supposed to be good? New Beginning. Yeah,
was it good?
Rob Zerber really liked it.
Oh, wow, okay.
Dang him.
Yeah, Rob Zerber. Did you watch it?
I haven't seen the whole thing, no. Dang MQ, if the TNT title open challenge returns, which indie wrestlers do you want to see challenge Cody? Dang MQ says RJ City, Nick Gage, and Effie. Had he not signed with the Ring of Honor, Danhausen as well. All good options, all good ideas.
I don't want that title defended outside AEW anymore. Because AEW has too many people. That's why. Even like I'd rather see the jobbers on Dark get chances at that because they're in AEW. I'll be honest with you, like I just wasn't impressed with that Warhorse match. I was like, why did they do this? Like I know that he has a huge internet following. Did nothing for me. I thought that match could have gone to any number of the guys that they have signed that could have helped them a lot more. I just don't want to see it anymore.
Gareth Nicholas, if AEW was a sandwich, what type of sandwich would it be?
If who was?
AEW.
Was a sandwich?
Yeah.
I
know it's not a common one. In fact, I only know one place that has it. It's in Folsom. It's called the Dobby.
Yeah.
When it's good, it's like the perfect sandwich.
Yeah.
Any little bit is off, it kind of throws things out of whack in totality. So I'll say that.
What's a sandwich that's like a really great throwback sandwich? Because AEW just always feels like very throwback to me. French dip. But with like a good French dip. Like a loaded French dip with like caramelized onions.
Like a Dagwood's a sandwich you don't really see a lot anymore, but you know, that used to be a pretty common thing.
There you go. Oh yeah, BLT, that's good. Because like I usually like a BLT, but sometimes a BLT could be crap too. Mikey Omega with 100 bits here says you each have to remove one of the other's limbs. Which limb and how?
So which arm or leg?
Well, I'm going to let you keep both your arms.
Thank you.
Let's take like one of your left leg.
All right.
You're right-handed, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll take your left leg.
That's
You
good.
don't
I can
need
still
that.
drive then. I can still drive.
What a dark question that is.
Yeah, I wouldn't take your hands either because then you make drawing hard for you. I have to take one. I'll take your left leg too.
It'd make your life much worse too, because like I couldn't edit with like a stub.
Yeah, I couldn't play guitar at all. That'd be
Sure, I
miserable.
could learn.
Blood Wraith. Book a story arc where an insurance adjuster for AEW gets more and more frustrated every time talent destroys something at Daly's place. Well, there's that, and then there's all the bloodshed that seemingly happens there.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that would really be kind of like part insurance guy, standards and practices at TNT type thing. It's like a right to censor group comes in.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, hey, not only is there too much bloodshed, all this cussing, there's all this destruction that's happening. We gotta instead of those barricades, they're recovered in bubble wrap now. You can't go beyond the barricades whatsoever. Anything that else gets destroyed, you're kicked out of Daly's place. And so it's AEW as a company fighting to stay on air. And people are, they get so hyped up, miss fighting. They don't think about these things. So like Tony Khan has come out and is like, hey, don't do that. We're getting kicked out of here. We got no show.
It's not called AEW. It's called All Elite Wrestling. Anyways, thanks everybody for tuning in. We appreciate it. We'll be back tomorrow with a news brief and our NXT review at
Correct.
noon Pacific, right here on the Twitch at twitch.tv/Steve and Larson. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Till next time, we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.